it down. Hello.
I just noticed we're both wearing green today.
Oh yeah, different shades of green.
Different shades, but yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very green heavy theme. You got the two in the box in the back in green, us in green,
True.
names in green. I got a little green back here. You got a little green. I can't. Oh,
Yellow green.
Oh, hey, all right. No,
little green in there.
little green up there. I hope not. I hope you're feeling all right. You feeling all right?
I'm good. I tell you, we just we cleaned up the kids' room. I say we. Meg cleaned up the kids' room yesterday.
Good save. Good save.
I was handling some stuff downstairs, but she took on the mount that is like kind of getting the kids' room like cleaned back up and reorganized and stuff. And especially it's like one of those days too. Like we like to involve the kids, like make it part of the process too, but also like Fee was at camp yesterday, and so great day to
What a great chance!
Done.
Oh yeah.
Just get it done. And then like, okay, this is how we want to try to keep the room. But it stirred up a lot of dust. And man, my allergies are just like my nose and my eyes are just like dry and cracking. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so glad this room is clean. I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. I love the tongue comes. All of our listeners with mesophilia, right? Mesophilia, is that the whatever the like they can't hear people eating. No, that's like a breathing thing from like asbestos, I think. But you know what I mean. Whatever it is, the noise, like they can't stand the noise of somebody eating.
Oh yeah, what is that?
They just vomited. In your beautiful, wonderfully told story of the development of your allergies from cleaning Fee's room. They just vomited.
That's funny, the noise thing too. Like it's so funny because I just showed Meg this video. This guy has this Instagram account or this TikTok account where he makes food, but it's very ASMR. So it's like he puts the bread down on the counter and you hear the bread like slapping the table, and then as he's like throwing the cheese down, you hear it when he puts it in the fire and fries.
I don't like
and
that.
It's like okay, and then it's him eating it. You just hear the.
No.
The noise, like the noise for me is like like all those noises like very stimulating. Where Meg is like, this is too much. This is too much.
Yeah. Meg and I are going to the soundproof chamber together.
Yeah.
Or separate, each of our own soundproof chambers.
Yeah, like I've watched that video like 5 times just because the noise. Like when he does quick cuts too. So like he made this one like big sandwich, and he put like deli meat and cheese on it. And I'm not kidding. The sandwich was like this tall, and this the slice of this in, and he does these quick cuts where you just hear like as he's like throwing.
Cool, I do kind of like that. Yeah,
it was pretty cool. And then you hear when he puts in the fryer, and then you hear like the. He's like, that was a good, not bad. When he like cuts into it,
with the crunchiness of the bread.
Yeah, but then it was like, okay, this is about as much as I can handle. And then I think it's a combination of him eating it, like I think that's what gets to be too much because then you hear him like chewing and it's trying to go back in there,
moist and
yeah. That's where it's like he just needs to cut off once it's made. And just have a separate channel for him eating it. There's people that pay to watch it.
Yeah. It's a good show. I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Nice show. That was good. Make myself a little sourdough egg sandwich.
Oh man, I feel like we could. This is a great segue where we can just go. Oh, are you going into grandma's house?
It's a little out of context. I'm not sure nobody's gonna understand it yet. Maybe we'll get to it when.
No, but now they're bought in. Now they're like, well, I have to continue to listen to find out what the heck it is they're talking about.
Right, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I think we will. We will. So anyway, but yeah, I titled this one "The One in the Midst of It All," just because we're in the middle of Bring a Friend Week, and I don't know if you saw TJ's post in Slack. He sent that video. It was a video beyond the whiteboard. Put it up. But it was where did he put it? Where'd he put it?
So I'll answer your question. I did see that he posted.
Okay, inside the affiliate, free intro classes.
Yeah, I did see that you post that people post videos and say that they like the videos. I end up having to make choices about what I am going to and not what I am and am not going to watch, and it's not a reflection of the individual who made the post or that I am disregarding what they're saying. It's just oftentimes if I'm looking at Slack, it's on my phone and it's like in between something else.
Yeah.
So if it's like if I know, like, especially if like I click on the link and then I see that it's more than like a minute video, like more than a short, I'm out, I'm done. And so the only one that like I will make the concession for is your weekly update video because
it's like very work related.
Because you're my boss, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to watch this because he's putting out information, and I have the responsibility to do my job and listen to it, and But I will tell you, I watch you at 2.5 times speed.
Yeah, that's good. That's my goal. My goal is like no more than 10 minutes, and there's a couple times where I'm like,
so I can get it done in like 4.
Yeah, good. That's good. You can hit all the high points.
Well, and it's because you do repeat yourself a little bit. I do too. It's not.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Just an observation, but you're working. I feel like your process is you work through it as you're working through it, which is exactly what I do. And so I'm like, great, that's his process. So like at 2.5 times speed, I get it 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, got it, cool, and it's actually quite enjoyable because I'm like, that was a great conversation. Thanks, Eric. Good update.
You're absolutely right. Like I'm working through it as I'm working through it.
Yeah.
And it's also like it's also okay if I reiterate it like 1 or 2 more times at least, then there's no question what it is that I said. Like you can't say, "Oh, I didn't hear that." Well, you had to have because I said it like 3 times.
And if that's if I watch it at 2.5 times speed, I'm not annoyed by the 3rd or 4th time I heard it because it only took me 30 seconds to get through you taking 3 minutes to say it. So
that's probably life of like having kids that you have to do that, or it's like life of like, I mean, it's so I find I remember one time when with the coaching development, it was like record your whiteboard brief and like send it in, and and Ackerman was reviewing it, and he's like, you repeat yourself a lot. And I was like, yeah, I think it's because I find like I know I'm gonna get asked this question again in about 5 minutes is to like, are we taking this from the rack or are we how many rounds are you expecting or about how many should this be unbroken? Like it's the questions that you're probably going to get again later. And I just where I just have to accept I'll probably get asked. I could say it 10 times. Someone's going to ask me that question later. And I find myself doing that sometimes where I'm reiterating for the sake of, okay, if I say it now, then everyone will get it. But it's silly to think that everyone's going to get it and just accept that part of this job is you're going to have to repeat yourself because you're also you're giving people a lot.
Yeah.
And it's if they hang on to most of it, then that's a win.
So that's funny. That's a really it's a very good point because I experienced it this morning a little bit of that. So like the frustration comes when it's like, look, I'm not saying this all because it's just crap. Like I'm saying this because like my understanding is you individuals are standing here because you want the guidance and the right. I respect you enough that what I'm saying is of value. And so then it's like my reciprocal expectation is that they respect me enough that they listen.
Yeah.
So it's like I try to find the frustration comes when either like people are just blatantly talking over and through and like that to me feels like I'm not in the wrong when it's like, hey, like I get it. You want to have this conversation with your really great friend that you only see an hour a day, and here it is in the class. So I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm going to ignore that you are blatantly ignoring and just doing your own thing on your own.
Yeah.
So am I valid when I am frustrated when that same person or type of person comes 3 minutes later or 5 minutes later and says, "Wait, what are we doing? I don't understand." So do you know what I mean? Like where as the professional who's executing the class for the majority, where is it appropriate for my frustration to come in? It is my frustration ever like, are you ever allowed to be frustrated?
Yeah, like I would definitely say like of course you're allowed to be frustrated. That's like saying you're not allowed to feel and you're allowed to
Okay.
feel. But I feel like there's a way that you have as the professional you have to handle it in a way that maybe you wouldn't handle it if it wasn't like yeah, yeah, it feels disrespectful and it feels because that's my immediate feeling. Someone's talking while I'm doing the whiteboard brief and I'm like, "Why do you want to blatantly disrespect me? Like
Yeah.
why are you doing that to me?"
So
And it's really
I can remove me from that equation.
yeah.
I can say that you're not disrespecting me, but what I can also say is you are being disrespectful,
And
right?
so
Like I think we can objectively agree that
yeah.
that is a disrespectful behavior.
And I feel like you are probably really good at having of finding a good way of pointing out that, "Hey, remember this thing we talked about in the WOD brief? Um, we talked about this here. Remember when I talked about this?" Coming back to it and getting them to realize like, "Ah, yeah, sorry, I was definitely talking during that." Like getting them like I feel like you're really good at like asking the question. Remember when we talked about this in the WOD brief and I said this? And they'd be like,
Yeah.
immediately they'll be like,
No, I
"Yes,
wasn't paying attention. Yeah,
I
I
wasn't
was,
paying
yeah.
attention." And they immediately, like, recognize that. I don't like because I'm me, like, it's impulse control sometimes. Like, I know me sometimes. It's really hard for me not to say this thing that I wanna say to this person right now,
Yeah.
and and so I
But a
think
one word, but like a quick, like, so like a funny joke, right? And a chuckle, chuckle,
yeah,
chuckle. Like, I don't
yeah,
mind. That's not the, I'm talking about like you're,
yeah,
4 minutes, 5 minutes into a conversation
yeah,
and you can't snip it off when, right? Like, the coach says, like, all right, you know, it's 5:33. Like, let's get going. Here we are. Like you give people 3 minutes. There's even the buffer of like, I'm talking if you have a truck coach on like 5:30
yeah,
p.m. class or something. So it's just, and then I don't have an answer. Like I don't, and there is no right answer. Like we're people. It's messy and right, and it's different every day. Like sometimes people are ready to rock and roll. They get in, boom, start, and it's like cool, and nobody wants to talk, and nobody even wants to acknowledge that you're talking. Like I
yeah,
got it. Like okay, we're not engaging with each other until we move a little
yeah,
bit. I get it. Blood needs to flow. Um, it's just that's sort of the or sort of the empty question, right? Like sort of the uh like should I don't even I'm trying to think of like an example that is sort of very general and um uh, should I count all my reps or should I just count like until I stop? Like what like and you're like, "What? Wait."
and
Like
I feel like that's where people think be curious means ask questions. It's like, well, you that's not really being
I
curious. You're
don't like
just
what are you yeah, what are you asking me? Like I don't
yeah,
understand. Like
yeah,
and I guess that for a lot of people and me too, like you want to quote unquote do it right. And I get that.
yeah,
Like so I want to do it right. But like at the same time, like what's right? Like like
yeah,
the answer. You're asking, it's a
yeah,
retort. Like you're asking a question just to get somebody to answer the question
yeah,
you already know the answer to, or you're asking a question like you don't want the answer to. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not.
Which case I might be like, I was like, "So it is a 10-minute AMRAP. What do you think?" Like, I'll just answer your question with that question. Like, on the board, it's 10-minute AMRAP. Do you think you should count
Right.
your reps?
Yeah, yeah. It's just and I mean, so those ones actually don't frustrate me.
Yeah,
I just struggle how to answer it to actually not in a way that is not disrespectful to the person, but is also authentic to me. Because my innate move is just gonna be to gaslight the shit out of them and just be like, you know what, and just to go like full asshole sarcastic. Like that's my ingrained like that is the route that is like deep deep inside me, and it's just like, so I don't want to do that.
Tell you what, let's make a trade. You tell me what you were talking about, so I understand, while you can understand what I was talking about at the time that you were talking about. So whatever that story was you were telling, make sure you share that to me, and I'll share with you what we're doing today. How does that sound?
Oh, right. Like that started out kind of funny and got like real, like, ooh, like that's angry Eric.
Angry Eric is smiling. That's
yeah. That made me really uncomfortable a little bit.
Angry Eric is a very sarcastic, smart mouth there.
And your speed, you picked up speed as you were going into, like, you were working, you were like doing what my mom we used to do when we were younger, like you were working yourself up into it. That was really good.
I might need to go for a walk.
Yeah, like that. I just felt like one of your kids a little bit, like, oh God, dad's angry.
Here's an idea. Why don't you go ahead and get down, get your own pants out of the drawer and put them on like a 6-year-old can, and let me take care of the baby who's 10 months old and has poop in his diaper. How does that sound to you right now? Then maybe we can play.
Oh, yeah. That was beautiful.
And now there's some baggage you can hang on to and talk to a therapist in about 10, 15 years.
Right. I'm just doing you the favor of giving you something to talk to your therapist about when you're 30.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was beautiful, man. Yeah. So apparently you don't really have an answer for me either.
No. But the answer is be as professional as you possibly can be.
Right. And then just give each other
further discussion. It's definitely one of those, like, you probably have the opportunity after class, if it's a continuing thing, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. Give each other a little grace. Give yourself some grace. Give that person some grace, right? Like, guess what? I'm human. You're human.
Yeah.
Perfection ain't happening ever. So sorry. I was a little brusque there, but yeah, brisk or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like a good one is like, don't dress someone down in front of everyone. Like, if it really needs to happen, have it aside, or they're there. But that's my take, because we've been there how many times in our coaching career?
I think too, like I think back Amy. I think of like Amy really had a great skill set, has a great skill set. I'm sure still. I haven't seen her coach in a while, but like I get louder to try to take over. Yeah. She would actually get quieter. And it was like this beautiful, like, it actually, and it drew like everybody in.
It's so true.
And I was like, I watched her do that a couple times at like 9:30s that were just chaos.
Yeah.
And she did it, and it was just like, it was like a wave of calm, and it just like brought everybody in. And I was like, she's a fucking Jedi. Yeah. Like, that was amazing.
That's such a good move. Like, if they're talking over you, they might recognize it. And like, if you lower your volume a little bit, they'll be like, oh, what is she saying? Because then you realize, because I think also you realize how loud you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh,
yeah. We ain't gonna win this. We ain't gonna win this with escalating violence. It's time to bring it down, people. Yeah, I just remember multiple times, but I remember one of them, and I was just like, wow, I gotta practice that. That was really good.
Now you could also do the 1, 2, 3 eyes on me.
That feels, to me, that's inauthentic to me. Like that feels too grade schooly. Yeah. Like that feels like kindergarten. Which, I mean, sometimes 5:15 today was like a bunch of 6th graders, so they weren't too far from kindergarten. But not in a bad way.
It's funny to say that, because I think I totally did it to 6:15 the other day. Whereas it was that transition where, like, half of 15 was kind of here at the whiteboard, and the other half was talking to the half of 5:15 that was like on their way out.
Still coming, yeah.
But I totally did it like all right, guys, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And somebody repeated back like the second part to me, like whatever it is, like 4, 5, 6, pick up 6. I don't remember what I don't know what the other half is. It doesn't matter. But it's but I totally said it in like a joking way, and someone brought it right back. I was like, oh, beautiful.
So it worked. Yeah, it worked. A good also sound strategy if it works. But I think in the end, you said it perfectly. Like, be professional. Be respectful to the other person, even if they're still working through whatever they've got to work through. And then if it goes too far, just say, sorry, man, that went way too far. I'm sorry. Like, talk about it, after facts, loop back around. I called Matt Mike for like, the entire class.
Oh yeah.
And then when I was trying to check him in afterwards, I'm like, oh my God, his name's Matt. And I called him Mike the entire class. So I texted him afterwards and he goes, I figured out about halfway through that when you were saying Mike, you meant me. And it was fine.
Yes.
Not the first time that that's happened. Don't worry. And so
Yeah.
luckily, in my embarrassment and complete screw up, I hopefully will never forget Matt's name again.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
I did the same thing to Chris. Like I even ran like his intro and stuff, and like it was the next day, and for some reason I forget what name it was. Like maybe I had like, I don't know, maybe I had Matt in my head,
yeah.
And then it dawned on me for a second. I was like, wait, and it was totally like I know his name. I just kept calling him the wrong name, and then it dawned on me. I was like, did I? I think I did.
The whole class. And it was it was one-on-one.
Yeah. Like it was
But he said, take the 10 seconds, take the 30 seconds, loop back around and say, hey, I'm now aware that I was doing this. I apologize. That was not my intent. I'm really glad that blah 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 blah, right? Like, and mean it. And I feel like that's the practice to, hey, look, I'm progressing, I'm scaling and modifying my own coaching technique to try to get better and always improving. And it's going to be messy at times and it's not going to be perfect. So I like that. I like your, those are actually two really good strategies. Remember my other one way back when I hated everybody. And I was
burn the building down.
Yeah. I wanted to burn. Those were the two options, right? Like either I quit or I burn the building down. You choose. Which one would you want me to do? But it was the 3 breaths, the smile, and then the repeat back.
Oh, that's right.
Unfortunately, that became very aggressive. What I heard you say was,
and they're just standing there like, you okay?
What's wrong with him? Is he stroking out?
Just slowly start to walk away. I'm gonna go over here now.
So I think I've worked through that process in place and have learned some techniques not to let myself get there again. But I dip my toe into that pool of emotional toxicity from time to time. And this is, I think, part of that work, part of that process of like not letting it get that far and explicitly asking myself of like, okay, you're right. It is somebody talking over you at the whiteboard disrespect. That's the story I call it. How about you just call it, they're still processing being somewhere in public and they need to process that. I don't need them to pay attention, right? Like I've got 9 other people in the class, 10 other people in the class.
Forward with them or without
I'm moving forward. And guess what? If they need to ask a question, guess what? I'm on the clock. You're paying me $30 that hour to fucking work. And if answering a question is part of that work, answer the question, right? And that like it's that simple. And guess what? Like that's perfection. That's what I'm aiming towards. But if along that path to ideal, maybe I veer off a little bit into, okay, great. That's called work. Like so then recognize like, I apologize. I answered you a little sarcastically. I didn't need to. Your question's legit. Like just answer the question the person asked. It's not my job to fix them and make them, work through whatever psychological thing. They ask a question, answer the question. Like it's just getting paid for.
Your job is more like physical related, like fix certain physical things, but that other stuff, like that's a different hour. That's a different pay rate. That's a different.
But it comes, but inevitably it'll come along for the ride because we're not right. I can't bifurcate my emotions from my physical.
It's a service industry. It's a relationship industry. Yeah.
So I like looking at it like that, and it de-escalates a lot of the like vilification of the person, and so there it is. And I feel like this can immediately move back into the physical side of it when somebody who you've told 1,000 times to press their knees out, to push their knees out when they're squatting, continues to let their knees cave, or 1,000 times you've told them to, keep your elbows in when they're doing a push-up or whatever.
Jack froze. You froze on my end, brother. There's good stuff coming too. Hang on. He was right in the middle of something good. Jack, we lost you on my end. Let me just make sure it's not a connection on my end too. For all I know, is someone unplugged the Wi-Fi again. Okay, we'll get back Jack back shortly. And while we're doing that, please be patient while we fix technical shit. So,
I think my internet.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. That was me. I think my internet kicked out on me.
Cool. As soon as stuff like that happens, I immediately go up to mine and be like, "Who unplugged it? Who unplugged the router?"
That's what it felt like for mine, but I bet you it might have just been something external to the house or whatever. But anyway, I was saying it comes right back to the same. I don't know where I lost you, but the physical side of it. Like, just because somebody won't get depth in their squat doesn't mean they don't hear you or that they don't want to, right? Like, that's what you're getting paid for, is to be consistent and to be relentless on that consistency and to offer them the, hey, I can see you trying. I love it. Keep working on it. And they go, yeah, it's just not happening today. My hip hurts, or I just got this weird ache in my ankle. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Why don't we try this? And, right? Like, that's it. Like, again, that I feel like is the missed version of curiosity that I'm missing when I immediately assume disrespect or they're being rude or blah, 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 or whatever it is. Like, change the narrative.
Like, as soon as you get that kind of victim mentality where it's just like, they're doing this to me. Like you said, you get like the removing yourself from it. I feel like that's the first thing you should always try to do, is just remove yourself from it, because it probably has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. And so then once I remove myself, can I objectively be like, oh, well, I'm still in there because I'm calling it disrespectful. So, so there's still like a remnant of me in there. If I'm really removing myself, well, then I can objectively see it and like, well, that's not disrespect. That's just joy. Like that person's just so happy to see the other person, and look at how excited they are to see them. I know what that's like. I've been that person before, where I just, at the expense of everybody else around me, I am so excited. I'm so excited to see this other person. And now all of a sudden you're like, excellent. Harness that and be like, when they come back and they're like, wasn't paying attention. Like, oh, that's cool. You guys were having a great conversation. Now I get, this is kind of cool. I get the opportunity to practice my own efficiency of language. What took me 3 minutes to say in the whiteboard brief, can I say it in 15 seconds in the same efficacy, or with the same efficacy for this person? Now all of a sudden I just be like, oh my God, I could have taken my 3-minute whiteboard brief and had it only be 2 minutes. Now I get an extra minute of socialization, mobility, transition, skill work, P time for Huey, whatever, to add to the class. That one was for you, Hugh. He crushed it today, by the way. Crushed it. He did awesome. I gave him a very specific time. He went to the bathroom. He came out. Some people were giving him a hard time about, like, come on. And he looked at the comments and says, I still got a minute. And I'm like, Huey, you're good. You still got plenty of time. You're rocking it. You're crushing it. Yeah, he did great. He's on it. I love it.
At one point I thought, I was like, did he drive home to go to the bathroom? Sweet Hugh.
The thing is, though, I'm totally on board. Like, I'm with him. Like, there are times, and my brother-in-law Todd does the same thing. There are times where it is time to start the workout. And like sometimes when we used to like text back and forth because we were working out about the same schedule, but he's up in Connecticut, I'm here, and like we text, and like 15 minutes later, we're both still texting like, I just finished going to the bathroom. Got my wrist wraps on. And then I'm like, have you started yet? And it'll be like, waiting. Not quite. Had to go get some more water. So, right, it's like, what is wrong with us? Why won't we start? Just start.
That's why it's all fair too. When it's like, all right, you all have 3 minutes. Like, we're gonna get started when the clock says 48. We're getting started.
Yeah.
You are allowed to take all 3 minutes. I may at 2 minutes be like, all right, come on, guys. You're right. No, I did say 48. You do have a whole other minute. Yeah.
He did it. He crushed it. So anyway, but if I could buy an extra minute by being more efficient with my own language, and the person who talked during the whiteboard brief and now needs to ask the question to get clarification, and I can practice learning how to make my language more efficient. Well, then in a sense, I just changed what was disrespectful into a gratitude, because that person has given me an opportunity to keep practicing my own trade. And now all of a sudden it completely de-escalates and changes the narrative. And in a sense, I'm both removing myself, but then I'm also putting myself back in a more healthy, emotionally productive, right? Like a better, like that's a cool little mental gymnastics of like, you can never actually remove yourself. Like I'm always in there, but at the same time, I'm in there now with a better and richer appreciation for how we're actually both in there and both not in there. It's a cool little like back and forth.
It's so true, because like you said, I've had those moments where it's like you go and me explain to someone, it becomes so much more efficient in it. And I've had that moment where like, oh, that sounds like, I feel like that's way more clear than the way that I explained it earlier. So now when we get into it, it's almost like I hit a quick reminder of like, hey everyone, quick reminder, this is blah, and I hit it with that same 15 seconds. You're absolutely right. Like it's almost like an opportunity to like clean things up, keep it a little bit easier for people to digest, and it's and then it becomes like here's my new cue for the rest of the morning.
Right. And then the second, third, fourth level benefits of that. Here's now a person who feels legitimately like this is their space. Like they're welcome here because they know, right? They know that they shouldn't have been talking during the whiteboard brief, but they also know, motherfucker, I want to talk to my friend. And so it's like they've been allowed to also be themselves and recognize they don't need me making them feel guilty about something that they know they shouldn't have done, but at the same time they really want to do. And so it's like they actually, in like a actual showing way, not telling way, you've actually made space for a diversity of people and actions, right? And then the second and third level is somebody else is seeing that and feeling like, oh wow, this place really is welcoming. To me, like that's also the part that like we can say, well, we welcome everybody and blah blah blah, and we're very open. And then in the actual execution of it, it's like, if you don't fit in my fucking 5-minute window of engagement, I ain't got no engagement for you. That's not very open, but I'm a very open person.
Yes.
Like I'm all welcoming if you fit in my 5-minute window.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is your time for questions. Anybody got them? Great. We're done. Moving on.
I love all of you that do this specifically.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Right. So good. It's good. That's like good, legit people work right there. I like it.
I'll tell you, I think it's I think I kind of, because every job I've had has been service. It's been customer service in some form or another. And I feel like a lot of jobs are, but it's dealing with people one-on-one of all kinds of different situations. And at the end of the day, it all comes back that kill them with kindness. Like if you just need to be like, just meet them where they're at, and then work out whatever you need to later. And kill them with kindness usually comes if you have someone coming in hot and fired up, and you just smile. But it's also the same with yourself. Where if you're getting yourself hot and fired up, calm yourself, be kind, and then it'll all work itself out.
So it's funny. It's that's sort of I appreciate that, to kill them with kindness. I don't. It's really aggressive. I mean, why are you killing anybody? I think we need a new metaphor on that one.
Shut them down with sweetness.
Well, I actually kind of like that better. That's really kind of good. It's still alliterative. Yeah, it's still very poetic. But it's the shut them down with sweetness. But I like both killing and shutting down. It feels like you're eliminating the other person's agency and individuality. I feel like it would be like something in S, like something with sweetness or something with kindness. Like, but I don't know. I fall short in words with that kind of stuff often. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why the killing them with kindness for me feels too difficult of a mountain to climb just yet. Is it feels so inauthentic to me, because it feels like it's complete absence of bound. Like there's I struggle in there with like, it's missing the fairness of like I immediately butt up against like, fuck them, right? Like,
fuck them with fairness. Got it.
But I mean, just be like I immediately am like, screw them. Like, what? That's not my fucking job. They came in here like an asshole. Like, leave that shit at the door, right? But I'm totally wrong, right? I'm just right, like, right. This is like the full behind the curtain. And so because it is complete absence of boundaries.
Yeah.
For me, from the perspective of like, I have to do all the work. I've got to be kind to get them down from off of some sort of ledge, right? And I'm like I'm starting to make the oh yeah, right. Let me get your pants out of the door while your brother, who's 10 months old, has got shit in his pants, but he doesn't need help. Let me get your pants. You're the most important person in the room, right? Like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yes.
Not helpful, right? So
no.
So I love the idea, but for me, it's like, no. I need more like immediate internal. I need a more explicit feeling of boundary. And so this is, spoiler alert. I'm coming to the story, the trip to grandmom's house.
Here we go.
Progressing from a movement where we all are like, we finished a general warm up. We've introduced some stuff, and today is the perfect handstand. Rowing, handstand, push-ups. So we're pulling on the erg. We're pushing something, hopefully from a compressed position here to an extended position here, be it upside down or whatever. I use the metaphor of like, hey, we're going to go on a little trip now where it's like a road trip to grandmom's house for Thanksgiving dinner. And grandmom's house with the turkey and the pumpkin pie and the beautiful cookies and everything, and it's warm. That's a kipping handstand push-up on the wall. Like that's our goal. But it's a long road trip, and you might get hungry along the way, and you got to take an exit for the Wawa, where you get the hoagie, chicken salad, maybe a little bacon on there, maybe a lemon tasty cake pie. I don't know, some good coffee, and I love it at Wawa. Like I could spend 2 hours just walking around the Wawa, sampling, snacking. It's like Sam's Club. Maybe Sam's Club is a better one. I don't know.
But you can do that? You can sample at Wawa?
I do. Good to know. Well, actually, what I do is I'm not
taking advantage of my Wawa trips.
I order my sandwich, and then as I'm ordering the sandwich, because now you got the self-checkouts, I just Bing it, and then I just like grab some chips and just eat my chips, right? So I'm like, I'm waiting for my sandwich, right? I'm having my appetizer, and so the idea being that the road to our final destination, it's not about getting to the final destination. It's about moving along the road and getting off on the exit that you need to get off on.
Yeah.
So that creates for me a boundary or some sort of expectation that the athlete understands. Look, you don't have a handstand push-up. I'm probably not going to get you to a handstand push-up today, but along the way are all valid things that will get you the stimulus, which we talked about at the whiteboard brief at the beginning. And what that did was there were multiple questions, or there were athletes that just sort of like played around with stuff and didn't need me like what the fuck are you doing? I didn't say to do that. I didn't care, because they were on their own exit. And actually, when I didn't get angry, because I had the boundary and I established sort of this idea that everybody's path or everybody's journey might be a little bit different. But for me, everybody was kind of on the same road or on the same trajectory, which was the handstand push-up. And I feel like it de-escalated. Well, I don't have a handstand push-up, so I'm just going to do pike push-ups again today or whatever. And when the person inevitably asked, can I use an ab mat? And you're like, yeah, sure. 1, maybe 2. And then the person somebody grabs 3 ab mats or sets up something, and they're like, oh, well, I like to do my handstand push-ups with 16 ab mats. And you're like, that's not a handstand push-up. You're not getting anywhere. Like I could say, I get you, and I see where you're doing, but you never even left the house, right? Like we're trying to get to grandma's house. You're still in the bathroom, man. Like that's nothing. You use those dumbbells, at least you're actually moving your arms through a range of motion that helps develop you moving further down the road. And it was a much easier way of answering the question of like, no, what are you doing? No. So I feel like it facilitates, for me, the killing of the kindness.
Yeah.
But in a way that meets me where I'm at, that there's like some framework of like boundaries that, hey, look, here's my line. I'm not gonna tell you what you have to do, but what I'm gonna tell you is if you want to get on this side of the line, this is what I need to see.
Yeah.
But you don't have to cross the line if you don't want to. Like, you don't have to come over on this side. That's your choice. Yeah. But if you do want to come over on this side, this is what you have to do. So if you want to get upside down and push against the wall, you cannot use more than 2 ab mats. Like, that's it. You don't have to get up and push against the wall, but you can't do it with 3 ab mats, 4 ab mats, 5 ab mats, because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And then in the end, I said, look, this is observation, blah, blah. This is what I recommend. If you don't have, a handstand push-up, maybe you want to ab mat, do dumbbell push presses. The idea of this workout is fast, furious, intensity, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you are an American. It's your God-given right to do whatever the hell you want. So do whatever the hell you want. But this is what I would do if I were you.
It's funny, just kind of a side note with that movement. It's one of those movements where it's like, imagine the handstand push where people are like, well, I'm going to stack these ab mats. I'm going to get upside down, but I'm going to do this. Okay, cool. And then when we get to the pull-ups, all I want you to do is just pull to here, right? Or it's like, hey, we're going to back squat today. I just want you to squat just a little bit. Yeah, just squat just a little bit. Load it up.
Don't even bend your knees. Like, just shut the door, open the door, shut the door.
Yeah.
Shut the door. But that's not a squat. You're right. That's not a fucking handstand push-up. Ooh, lost it. I lost the bubble. Oops. Get rid of the fuck. Get rid of the face. Say it a little bit nicer.
You're right. To get to grandma's house, we need to get here.
And then, of course, I would do that. Why would I know what I'm talking about? I haven't been doing this for 10 years and coached over 10,000 classes. I mean, what the fuck do I know? Do whatever the fuck you want.
I'm just a big dumb idiot in front of the room, pointing fingers.
I've been looking at this thing for 9 days and written out 19 class plans and demoed it in my garage by myself 6 times. I mean, why the fuck would I have bothered being a professional? Obviously, you, who didn't even pay attention during the warm-up brief, knows exactly what's the right thing to do. I'm just going to stand over here in the corner and drink coffee.
I totally feel like there's a space for us to create a separate podcast where we voice the things that we really want to say. However, it's like, if athletes really want to hear it, it's behind like a $200 a month paywall. So like,
well, what it is, it's Will Ferrell skit of the How to Train Your Dog with Sarcasm. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't know that.
Oh, yeah, no, you stay on the chair. You've had a tough day today. I mean, you clearly went to work and made lots of money to pay for your food that you don't even have to scoop into your own bowl. But no, don't get down. You stay on the couch and make it smell like wet feet.
Yeah. Yes, I do. But yeah. No, I also feel like that could be also like, if you want a real, like maybe that's even podcast. That's its own particular class. That is the 7:15 a.m. Look, you want us to really unload.
No, I hilarious for about 30 seconds. And then it's just, it's so not okay. Like, it's just, it is funny because it's like we all think that and stuff. But in the end, like, no, that's not.
You only get a right RX if you didn't cry in the hour.
Like, it's just verbally. Right. It quickly defeats itself as a useful or functional, because it's funny for it's like Anthony Jeselnik as a comedian. Like, I can take him for about 10-15 minutes at most, and then I'm just like, I just don't feel good anymore. Like, this is like the third piece of cake, man. Like, The first one was
He's
amazing.
great in clips. He's great.
Yeah, the second one was like, ooh, that might have been too much. And now you're making me suffer through the third piece of cake, right? Just to learn my lesson.
Yeah. You're funny. Like, this tastes great, but I think I need to go to church.
Yeah, right. Like, exactly. So no, I don't think that's a good class. That's not a good podcast.
You're right. I'm just going to scratch that off my things to do in 2024.
But I mean,
two bros and verbal abuse.
Exactly, because that's what it comes down. Well, and it is also a misuse of it's an inappropriate and disrespectful use of the power that the coach is in, because you're in a very powerful position, because people are willingly making themselves very vulnerable to you, and sometimes that vulnerability, because it's scary and it's hard, can manifest from somebody as like they come up to it, and then instead of like leaning into the vulnerability, which is really fucking hard, they become they deflect, or they seemingly become disrespectful, or they laugh it off, or they get nervous, and it looks right. So like what looks like overconfidence is actually just anxiety, or it's their own fear and stuff. And so it's like it's even worse disrespectful of the coach to treat that or meet that with equal disrespect, equal sarcasm, equal overconfidence, instead of the coach being the professional and saying like, look, my heart rate's not elevated. I'm not super fatigued after 45 minutes of work. So it is my responsibility to be the adult in this relationship. And that's a bad thing too.
Not that you're the child, but like
right. That's a bad association or analogy. To be respectful of the trust that this person has placed in you, and to take a breath and be, hey, it'll be okay. Like you did great. Like, you really put yourself out there. Well done. Thanks for asking that question. Here's the answer. And here's what I think would look great if you tried. And then, right, you've met the person where they are, and you've offered them something, and you've done yourself a service of not being an asshole. I've done myself a service of not being an asshole.
Yeah, like being an asshole, like you almost get like in that moment, it's almost like you get this. I almost want to say like a high, like almost it's you're just like almost like you're justified, but then immediately just doesn't feel good anymore.
I think it's funny. I'm really appreciating this conversation. I think it's because you are unconsciously or without consciousness, without awareness, abusing a really important, powerful position that you're in. And that's like, as a person who is not a villain, and you are a moral, ethical, good person, I think most of us are, none of us want to abuse power. We don't want to abuse a position that we've been entrusted by other people who are good people, who we like, who we trust. They've placed us in a position where they trust us, and that feeling of like exploiting it to make like that is like,
I'm right, you're wrong.
Right. And when it's over, you're like,
you're disrespecting me.
Yeah, like, why does this feel so icky? Well, because you abused your power. That sucks. So that's cool. I never thought, I've not thought about it this deeply, and from my own, like, I really like the way you said that about the disrespect. It feels disrespectful, and so I say I'm good at removing myself from it. But the reality is, if I'm still calling it or seeing it or feeling it as disrespect, then I actually haven't removed myself from the narrative yet. I'm still biasing that as disrespect. To really remove yourself, you have to say, can I see that as something else? Well, look, there's all these other options available. Excitement, joy. They're just really fun. They're still processing. This is their safe space. Oh, they're so happy to be here and see me. Oh my God, I'm back in it, and they're happy to see me. I'm so happy to see them. You guys keep talking. I'll get you on the other side, right? Like,
But we do also have to start the workout now.
Oh, we do. Yeah. It's 20 minutes and we haven't moved yet.
Huey's back in the bathroom. It's time to go.
Poor Huey. He's such a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's so
Huey,
great.
you do what you got to do, buddy. You do what you got to do.
Sometimes he comes out with a different shirt on too, and I'm like,
what happened in there?
Sweet. Oh man.
Oh, it's like Ross. It's like Ross when he was wearing the leather pants.
The powder has created some sort of paste.
I forget.
So he asked, like, how's it taste? Right? Like, it was something like that. Right?
Taste. Like when he's trying to pull, when he hits himself in the head with him.
God, he's so good. That's a good scene. The leather pants. Which FYI, I got Friends Giphy and one guest today.
I haven't seen it yet. I don't think maybe I've done it. I haven't done yet today's yet. I had yesterday's. Yesterday's was where Ross was like moving in front of the thing, moving in front of the window. It was the one. I thought it was the one where everybody finds out, but it's not. It's like it's later. But I nailed the season, and then it like took me like 3 or 4 more guests. Like I was missing it by like 1, and I was like, God dang it! That was sort of like where
I think it took me. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's like when we're like, it's like a 4-foot putt that you're like, I'm totally gonna sink this, and you freaking 4-putt it. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm never fucking playing golf again.
Yeah. What one is? Yeah, I thought it's funny. The same thing. I thought the same thing because like, it's definitely like he had just moved in, and I remember he was like, "Look, I'm across from you now." Yeah, and it was. I thought the same. The first one I thought was like when everyone finds out.
Because then he's up in the apartment. Oh, it was Rachel's inadvertent kiss. It was that one.
Yeah, that was the one again when I saw her with her boss. I was like, oh, that's what.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I was like, I know what this one is. Yeah. So Giphy made me mad, but it was like I could have gotten it on the first one. So close. I was off by 1. Then the second one, I was like, that was off by 1. And then the third one, I was off by 1. And then it was like the fourth one was like, all right, dummy. Here you go.
Here it is.
I'm like, whatever, Giphy. You don't have to make it that easy. I was close enough. You know, like I was very offended at Giphy and how easy the fourth clue was.
I'm mad at them because I realize I keep looking at like my statistics. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, you stopped counting after I played. So it was played 88. I don't know what it stopped counting them. It stopped counting how many. So it says like I've played 88 for Eric, I don't know how long.
Eric, the true question is, can't you find validation from in here and not from out here?
No.
You're like, clearly not. Why the fuck would I play it if I'm not going to get stats?
That sounds like an incredible waste of time.
Yeah. What a waste.
Could you be any more wrong? Oh man. So yeah, this one I feel like you can get this one in the first, as I'm like looking at today's now.
Which would make it's going to make great radio when I pull up my phone and start playing. And we're just both playing Giphy. And then we're basically like what's that? The app or Discord. It's like a Discord channel where we're both playing video games and people are just watching us play video games.
Yeah. Yeah, like you could, like this one's obviously very doable on the first one. The second one throws you for a loop. But if you don't get it by the third one, I'm concerned.
Okay.
But I think your knowledge you'll get it 3 or less for sure.
Do you play the waffle game? Did I send that one to you? Where it's like it's a checkerboard of letters, and you get yellow and green clues. So green means the right letter and the right. No, it's not Wordle. It's Wordle is just Quirtle is another one, but it's now I'm gonna pull up my phone and show you. God, I really hope I don't have porn up on the phone right now. But it's called Waffle, so it looks like that.
Oh, that looks fun.
And so you swap letters. So yellow means it can either be in this row or this row. So you know that letter right there is either there or there, but it's not there. And you know that is that a U? You know that U is either in this row or this row somewhere. You know that the green ones are in the right spot. And basically you're trying to spell 6 words with all these letters. And you have 15 swaps to get it done. It's a great game. I like it. And I mean, I like it because I win most of them. I win most of the time. There are some times where I don't make it in the 15 swaps and I'm like, grr. But it's at this point where like, it's weird. Sometimes without even thinking, I'll do it and I'll have like 6 or 7 swaps remaining. Best ever is I had 8 swaps remaining. It's insane. Like I made it in 7 swaps. I got like balloons and like confetti and was like, wow, you know.
So that first word is always key, right? Like that first, how many letters?
Kinda, but what it is you want to strategically like swap so that they both end up green. Like that's where you'll get bang for your buck. I think 6 swaps is the best possible.
Okay.
Like or maybe 5. I think the best you could do is leave 10 swaps. I'm on a streak here where I'm lucky to have like 2 or 3 swaps remaining. Like for some reason, like I've been like really trying to, I think I'm overthinking it, but it's an interesting, and then there'll be times where I like sweep over and I'm like 5 and 6 and 4, 5, 6 usually. So it's a fun, I like that one. I finished with Giphy and that. Those are my last 2 games I try each morning.
Yeah, send me that, please. That'd be Giphy. Like, the Giphy is my I get that one very quick. Wordle usually, I'm with you on Wordle right now. I'm in a streak where it's like no less than 4. I'm like, what is going on?
Right, exactly. I'm like, these words are dumb. You've been dumb words, Wordle.
It's like it's so hard that I forget about it and come back and ruin my streak the next day because I forgot to finish it because it took too long.
I forgot to finish. I hate that.
Ugh, damn it. I'll tell you, my gratitude is not 4 attempt Wordles. So yeah, let's get into it. Gratitude. It makes sense because I have about 4% battery left anyway. So perfect.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have one. You go first.
Oh, good. Cool. Mine's cool. So I've been so one of the guys with Affiliate U, his name's Joel Cochran, who works with Enlifted. He's like their mindset guy now, and he's not the lead. He's not
the lead singer for Cochran's Blues. Doesn't it sound like he should be a blues singer or like a
See, to me, it sounds like a law firm.
In the heat of the night, I was rolling down the road, highway to love. Joe Cochran.
That does actually. Well, it sounds like Joe. Is it Joe Cocker? Who's like there it is. Now I see it. Yeah, but he's a Texas guy, so he definitely could have.
He definitely thinks.
Yeah,
you should ask him. He probably plays the guitar. You guys could jam together. I'm totally hijacking your gratitude. I'm sorry. Finish.
He probably does. But yeah, he's cool. So he's just he did this speech at the Mastermind in Colorado, and he did this lecture, I guess it's better saying. He talked about it, and he kind of recognized like, hey, after having conversations with a lot of people and then seeing a lot of people what they're talking about, he realizes like this side of like what people are telling themselves and the story that they're telling themselves and how they're telling it to themselves, like definitely needs to be something that's like needs to be addressed as part of like Affiliate U. It worked out where he does about 1 month. He takes a small group of like 10 to 12 people, and for about 4 weeks, he just kind of runs them through a very like accelerated version of his course essentially.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is like using basically like kind of reframe almost exactly what we just did here, having that conversation of kind of reframing how you approach something, but also the words that you use and how you say it, and removing yourself from it, and a lot of it. So we just did the last. So I was in this last group, and it really was cool. Like so much of you see so much of just you. What is it like? What does he always say? But he kind of says like repetition is the.
You got a prisoner. You got a prisoner escaping in the back. No, yeah, there was a door. There's a door that opened, and it was so funny. I'm so sorry.
It's funny. I thought I heard it, and I was like,
Yeah, he opened the inside door. I'm assuming that's your front door that he opened.
It's actually a side door.
Oh.
Front door is practically useless. It's weird the way the house lays on the property, but
yeah, that was hilarious to watch. I just saw this little golden head and a little hand come up, grab the door handle, and then open it and come out. So I'm hijacking your gratitude again, but that was really funny.
No, it's all good. He's probably about to climb up the car. So anyway, it was just a good 4 weeks and a good just good practice and being aware of what you're telling yourself and being aware of the words you're using to whether the story you're telling yourself or even how you address other things, or even what I've become more aware is now when I hear other people say these things too, it's it's just almost, I don't know. It was a very good 4 weeks. And I appreciate Joel, and I appreciate his recognizing hey, this is something that people actually could, and basically making it part of the Affiliate U curriculum, making it a service that they offer on top of what you already use. So anyway, Joel Cochran, I think is the Unlifted podcast. I'll figure it out. I'll put it on the show notes or something. Anyway, that's mine. He's mine.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I would say mine's Andrew again. With we went rock climbing on Sunday, but his chess coach that he used to play with when he was a lot younger, he ran into him at the gym in Columbia, and the guy has been going now with his son, and Andrew and his son are the same age, and they all kind of reconnected, and the guy kind of then connected Andrew with these two women that the guy works with, that his chess coach David works with, and it's just this little group now that Andrew kind of has, and Andrew is by far the better climber of all of them, and so he introduced that whole group to doing some outdoor bouldering, or asked them if they would like to go outdoor bouldering, and we did on Sunday, and it was their first time, and so it was phenomenal for me to watch my son be in his element and be really good in his element, and not as a climber. It was ridiculous. He would demo stuff for us climbing without shoes on, or with while he's doing it, not using his hands and talking and just stepping on his feet and turning and being and then you could use your hand here. And I'm like, does he have Velcro on his fingers? How is he? And then
is he secretly Spider-Man?
Yeah, and so it was just awesome to watch him. And here's and he didn't get a lot of climbing in. He did. I mean, he got a little bit, but he was on the way home, he was funny. He was that was a lot of fun. He's I didn't climb a whole lot, but God dang, I had to beta so much for y'all. He's I'm exhausted. And I'm dude, I am exhausted. I'm still hurt. My shoulder still hurts from not in a bad way, but just overuse a little bit, because I got to climb way more than I usually do when I go with him, because usually he's climbing 4, 5, 6 times, and then I'll climb once, and then he'll climb 4 or 5, and then I'll climb once. This one, because he wasn't climbing a whole lot, I was going, and then one of the women would go, and then the guy would go, and then women go, and then I would go, and then Andrew would go. And so I'm getting 3 times as many climbs in, but I also got to watch him coach and cue and stuff, and I was cool. Just I'm in such a liminal space of he could turn this into something if he wanted to, but at the same time I'm kind of but if he doesn't want to, or he doesn't need to, it's just something that he's really good at, and it's a ton of fun, and I'm so grateful that I have a space to fit in there and I don't have to do anything. I just go. Awesome. And it and he'll ask and he's very aggressive in what you gonna climb today? You gonna do something more? And at first I was very offended. I'm dude, stop fucking pushing me. I'm not, but then I'm no. He's that's his jam. He's just sort of, it's come on, man, come on. And so I am now just leaning into it, and I can just say no. I'm doing very, very easy ones, and he'll just go, okay, and we get there, and of course I end up doing more than I want to, and it's so it's a great spit. Oh, Eric's out. You still in? Maybe I'm in by myself. I think somebody actually pulled the plug on him this time. Anyway, that's my gratitude, folks. If I'm still the only one live, we'll give Eric a couple minutes to come back. Silence at the end. So in closing, what I would say is don't be an asshole to people in classes. Oh, he's back. I can hear him. Just shut down with 3% left. You still in, or can you hear me? No? 3% battery? I hear him. That's so funny.
Hold on.
He's coming.
At the stage. Oh, where are you? I see you, but I don't see
me. I don't see you. Maybe we just close it with just me as the visual.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
There he is. He's on you're on your iPhone or iPad or something.
No, I just plugged the computer back in.
Yeah, so close we made it. Shouldn't have been so long-winded.
Everett is also currently standing on top of the car with no pants on, so I gotta go get him.
That trumps all gratitudes. That is a gratitude.
So awesome.
All right, man. This is a ton of fun. Good one.
Yeah, awesome.
We didn't even talk about Bring a Friend Week. Bring a Friend Week. Hey, you know how to keep people coming to the gym? Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole.
Be nice.
I like it. Awesome. All right.
All right,
we are
man.
out of here.